I traveled back to the day I confessed my feelings to the most popular boy in school. Seeing him come back to life, I burst into loud sobs. Ethan Cole looked disgusted, arrogant, and aloof. Who said, "You're my girlfriend, don't call me that"? How could I possibly like a girl who can't even score 780 on the math SAT? But Ethan didn't he know later, he would love me as dearly as life itself. Even when he was dying, he used every last ounce of strength to beg me to marry him again in our next life. This time, I shamelessly moved closer to him again. I'm willing to be an incurable fool in love. I don't care about dignity. I just want Ethan Cole to live. When I opened my eyes again, I looked down to see myself wearing a dark blue school uniform. In my hand was a love letter clutched until it grew warm. Class 12 to Zoe Jacobs. Is that you? Hearing someone call me, I turned around to see Ethan Cole standing not far away, his sharp eyebrows and tall frame cutting a striking figure. My eyes widened as I stared at him who had come back from the dead, and the words slipped out. "Darling, who's your darling? Don't call me that," he said impatiently. "Just tell me what you want." I rubbed my eyes and rushed forward, giving his arm a hard pinch. Ethan Cole, standing before me, was alive. "If you have something to say it properly. Keep your hands to yourself." He pulled me away, his eyes narrowing with displeasure. But I knew this was 18-year-old Ethan Cole. 18-year-old Ethan Cole, the center of attention, his eyes brimming with arrogance. Even if he turned to ashes, I'd recognize him. And I had returned to the day I confessed my feelings to Ethan Cole. I clutched the love letter in my hand, my thoughts swirling. In the end, I mustered up the courage and handed it over. "Ethan, there are so many things I want to say to you. They're all in this letter. I have class soon, and I'm busy. You'd better say it out loud." Ethan Cole's tone was cold. He was still as aloof and arrogant as ever, speaking with his eyes downcast, barely looking at people, completely dismissive. "Then I'll say it straight out. I like you, Ethan Cole." I stared into those clear eyes. Sure enough, Ethan Cole's expression remained impassive. He must have heard this kind of confession countless times. After a moment's thought, he finally spoke. "As I recall, class 2 of grade 12, doesn't he have anyone who ranked top 5 in the grade? Though I've received plenty of love letters from there. How could I possibly like a girl who can't even score 780 on the math SAT? Before he even opened his mouth, I had already silently recited this line in my heart. It's simply because this line is too iconic, hailed as the legendary confession scene to the arrogant school heartthrob, impossible to forget. The first time I confessed to him, Ethan Cole rejected me with that exact same condescending tone, icy and aloof. "Is that all?" I feigned surprise and retorted, "Just 780 points. Watch me prove you wrong. My name will appear alongside yours in the first row of the school's honor roll." At this moment, I appear calm on the surface, but inwardly, I'm sneering. "Ethan Cole, keep pretending. You'll not only fall for a girl who can't score above 780 on the math SAT, but you'll also end up personally tutoring her through problems. Too, I'm not just boasting when I make such bold claims. I can back them up." The first time I confessed to Ethan Cole, I was truly stung by his words. So, I studied hard and became a better version of myself because of him. In Northwood High's honor roll, ours was the only graduating class with 2 valedictorians in the photo. I was one of them. In the graduation message column, I flamboyantly wrote SAT Math 790 check. As the other graduating class representative, Ethan Cole's message was written in elegant printed script. He wrote only 3 words, seemingly simple, yet profoundly ambiguous. "I taught you later." These 2 phrases spread widely through Northwood High School, driving our junior classmates wild with excitement. Yet no one knew that was also the only time Ethan Cole ever directly responded to my confession. This is Ethan Cole. Either he keeps things bottled up until he suffocates, or he lets the whole world hear it. The more I imagined Ethan Cole eating his words later, the more I wanted to laugh. Zoe Jacobs' move. I was still grinning stupidly when I heard Ethan Cole bark. Before I could react, he grabbed my arm and yanked me aside. I don't know whose ball flew out from the football field. Bang, to pull me away. Ethan Cole couldn't dodge in time, and the ball hit him square in the face. Ethan Cole clutched his nose, tilted his head back, and cursed, "Damn it." Seeing blood trickle from his nose, I panicked. The scene was all too familiar. Ethan Cole, who often had nosebleeds back then, was most accustomed to covering his nose with his hand, tilting his head back, all while muttering curses under his breath. Little did he know at the time that he was already ill, until years of exposure to nuclear radiation at work eventually triggered cancer. The once 186 centimeters tall Ethan Cole became unrecognizably gaunt on his hospital bed, his cheeks hollowed out. He began sleeping all day, no longer even aware when his nose bled. That was clearly the hand of the boy I loved throughout my entire youth, yet in the end it felt as if I was only holding on to bare bones. But after he left, the name Ethan Cole became like a curse, trapping me, the one left behind for what felt like an eternity. Tears blurred my vision, and my voice choked up. "Ethan Cole, you shouldn't tilt your head back. When you have a nosebleed, the blood could flow into your windpipe or esophagus." Ethan Cole paused, then obediently pinched his nose and adjusted the angle of his head. It wasn't he until he looked at me that he realized I was crying. "No, Zoe Jacobs, it's me who has a nosebleed. Why are you crying?" I forced a smile and handed him a tissue, tentatively asking Ethan Cole, "Let us make a bet." Ethan Cole wiped his nosebleed, looking utterly confused. "If someone as hopeless as me could actually score 780 in math someday, would you consider changing your major?" Nuclear engineering had always been Ethan Cole's dream. Back when we first started 12th grade, the school had already made us fill out college application intra-surveys. I knew someone like him would overcome all obstacles to pursue what he truly loved. Ethan Cole looked surprised, then somewhat displeased. "Did you peek at my application form?" I didn't know how to explain it to him, but continued, "Anyway, with grades as good as yours, you have so many options for your future. Ethan Cole's expression darkened. Zoe Jacobs, we're just classmates. I'd prefer if you didn't interfere in my business. Your behavior has seriously violated my privacy. Please don't continue doing this in the future. Interfering with my dreams, dictating how I should live my life. Who do you think you are? I was instantly rendered speechless. Right, I'd forgotten in Ethan Cole's eyes now I was just an ordinary classmate he wasn't very familiar with. Ethan Cole threw the love letter back into my hands. If you have free time, you should do more practice tests. Find something you truly want to pursue instead of wasting your life writing things like this. My life is none of your business. Once I've decided something, I never change my mind. Ethan Cole sneered. Of course, I knew Ethan Cole was stubborn as hell. No one understood that better than me, and precisely because I knew him so well, I never stood in his way when he was so determined. Through hardships to the stars, the day Ethan Cole received his acceptance letter from Los Alamos National Laboratory, his dream finally came true, and he smiled radiantly. He said, Zoe, everyone thinks it's bitter and exhausting there. No one wants to go. But I find it romantic. I knew it was because that place was infinitely close to his ideals, and of course that made it the most romantic. As he spoke these words, Ethan Cole's eyes seemed to brim with galaxies and oceans. If you'd ever seen those eyes, you'd surely want to borrow a fraction of their light, just like I did. Ethan Cole is my greatest love and my irreplaceable role model. My thoughts snapped back to the present as I stared at the calculus formulas on the blackboard, feeling a throbbing headache coming on. Because of my language major, it's been far too long since I last touched math, let alone something as challenging as the SAT. Before my rebirth, after confessing to Ethan Cole, his words shattered me completely. I returned to class in tears. I thought passing was just a pipe dream for me, let alone scoring 780 points. Later, I mustered the courage to ask Ethan Cole if he could teach me, and to my surprise he agreed, and even taught with great enthusiasm. But this time things were completely different. I started with a royal flush, making bold claims. Thinking I had already read the script of life, I believed victory was in my grasp. Not only that, but I also successfully made Ethan Cole mistakenly believe I peeked at his application intention form. He must have a terrible impression of me now. This time I decided to seek help from someone else. After class, I ran to the school convenience store to buy snacks to bribe the math genius in our class. Although our class's overall ranking ISN T high in the grade, we have many subject-specific geniuses. Leo Fisher was one of them. He had so many math Olympiad trophies, they practically piled up, but his lopsided academic performance kept causing him to stumble in the overall rankings every time. After hearing my request, clearly Leo Fisher, though visibly disgusted by my math grades, still agreed to help me. Zoe Jacobs, you practically sleep through every math class. What suddenly made you see the light? I stuffed Leo Fisher's backpack full of barbecue-flavored chips and answered without looking up, because I'm going after Ethan Cole. With that, I looked at Leo Fisher and smiled. Let me correct that, I will definitely win Ethan Cole's heart. Whack! Leo Fisher mercilessly hit me on the head with the rolled-up test paper. Starting over meant having to relearn many things from scratch. Even with my full concentration, there were inevitably moments when I struggled to keep up. Zoe Jacobs, it's been half an hour since school ended, and you still haven't corrected your mistakes. The rain is pouring outside. If you delay me from going home, now don't expect me to lend you my umbrella later. What's up secretly thinking about your dear Ethan again? Leo Fisher teased me with that annoyingly smug grin of his. I reached out to pinch him. Unexpectedly, the classroom door was suddenly pushed open at that very moment. My hand froze on Leo Fisher's uniform collar while Leo Fisher gripped one of my arms. Our laughter abruptly ceased as we both turned to look toward the doorway. Ethan Cole stood there holding a stack of assignments, his gaze colliding directly with ours. His expression remained unreadable, though his gaze lingered on Leo Fisher's hand gripping my school uniform sleeve. His eyes then shifted to Leo Fisher's uniform collar. I reflexively pulled my hand away, feeling slightly guilty. Leo Fisher, what are you doing? Ethan Cole narrowed his eyes, his lips pressed into a tight line. I knew that was the sign. He was about to get angry. Just when I almost thought Ethan Cole was upset because of my playful scuffle with Leo Fisher, he strode straight toward us. He slammed the stack of assignments in his arms heavily onto Leo Fisher's desk. With a terrifying clang, he said, your class's homework assignments, keep them properly. If you don't want them next time, then burn them. It's not my obligation to deliver them to your class. Leo Fisher looked at me, then at Ethan Cole. The next second, he turned his face to me with a pitiful tone. Zoe Jacobs, look at your Ethan Cole. He is so fierce. In a place only I could see, a sly smile appeared on Leo Fisher's face. I instantly understood his good intentions. I cleared my throat and put on a stern face. Leo Fisher, don't take this the wrong way, but look at Ethan Cole. You're both responsible for collecting math homework, so how come he is so much more reliable than you? I stabbed him right in the back. Leo Fisher froze for a second before hopping mad. Oh, so that is how it is, Zoe Jacobs. Ethan Cole watched our back and forth with cold eyes before turning to leave. I quickly stuffed the notebooks and test papers into my bag and trotted after him. Until the teaching building entrance, that black umbrella was open, about to step into the rain. I shouted loudly, hey, Ethan Cole. Ethan Cole's retreating figure didn't pause for me. Growing desperate, I rushed straight into the rain and under Ethan Cole's umbrella. I didn't bring an umbrella. Ethan Cole glanced sideways at me. You can walk with Leo Fisher. I froze for a moment, not expecting him to say that. I grabbed his arm, persistently pressing as close as possible under the umbrella to avoid getting what he said. He wouldn't walk with me. So when he rejects you, you come under my umbrella, Ethan Cole retorted sharply. The rain pattered softly outside the umbrella beneath it. My heart grew damp from Ethan Cole's words. Ethan Cole, you're so dense. Can't you see I was just making excuses to walk home with you? In the end, Ethan Cole took pity on me and walked me home. I stayed perfectly dry with only my shoes getting wet. But Ethan Cole was soaked halfway up his body. I felt a pang of guilt and wanted to invite him inside, but he refused. I thought he was in a hurry to leave, but he wasn't. Zoe Jacobs, you should focus. When studying, chatting, and fooling around will distract you. Ethan Cole stood at my doorstep with a somewhat helpless expression. You said that day you'd score 780 in math to make me take notice. To be honest, I admire hardworking people, but you should take responsibility for your own life, not work hard just for someone else. I understand what Ethan Cole meant. He wanted me to strive and work hard for my own sake. I said softly, but he hadn't seen our future, so of course he wouldn't understand why I said such words. If it weren't for Ethan Cole, I wouldn't even know what purpose there was in trying. If you're willing to take your studies seriously, Ethan Cole paused, abruptly gripping the umbrella. I waited for him to continue. Leo Fisher is only outstanding in math. His overall academic ability isn't strong. I was puzzled then. What do you mean, who has stronger overall academic abilities? Ethan Cole lifted his umbrella, his deep eyes gazing at me through the rain. My heart seemed to be gently stirred by his gaze. What I mean is, Zoe Jacobs, I'm actually the top student in our grade. Would you like to consider letting me tutor you in math instead? The next day I bought Leo Fisher a large bag of potato chips and casually mentioned I wouldn't be learning math from him anymore. Leo Fisher looked surprised and asked me why. After I relayed Ethan Cole's exact words, he flew into a rage. What the hell is Ethan Cole pretending to be? How am I not academically capable? Has he won more math Olympiad awards than me? I still have a state-level silver medal. I kindly reminded him Ethan Cole may not have won as many math competition awards as you, but he did take home the state championship and was a finalist for the National Merit Scholarship. Leo Fisher exploded in fury. So you just use me and toss me aside, huh, Zoe Jacobs? You two really leave me speechless. I genuinely don't get what you girls see in Ethan Cole. Leo Fisher's words slowly faded from my ears. Ethan Cole was indeed popular with girls both in high school and in college. Before me, he never let anyone get close. After me, his stance became even more resolute and decisive. Even at his friends' dinner gatherings, Ethan Cole was often the target of good-natured teasing. They say this clueless straight as an arrow guy has charmed countless girls' hearts with his high IQ and handsome face. I will only ever love Zoe Jacobs in this lifetime. At that moment, he gently took my hand under the table. But when did he start liking me? And why? I had no idea. I sighed. Ethan Cole was as incomprehensible as advanced mathematics. School was out, and the time for the tutoring session with Ethan Cole had finally arrived. I carried my backpack and walked to his classroom. The evenings lately had been graced with particularly beautiful sunsets. Ethan Cole stood leaning against the desk by the window wearing headphones. He turned his face away, gazing at the sky outside, lost in thoughts, unaware of my arrival. For the 5 years after Ethan Cole's death, my days and nights were tormented by countless fragments of memories like these silent, lingering moments we once shared. I kept listening to the songs Ethan Cole loved, visiting the places he frequented, eating the foods he enjoyed, and even deliberately mimicking his little mannerisms. Once I accidentally got a nosebleed, I didn't wipe it away. I just stared at my reflection in the mirror, wondering what Ethan Cole must have felt in his final moments, how much pain his body must have endured. It wasn't until blood trickled into my collar that I suddenly snapped back to reality. In the end, all I could do was imitate his memory, tilting my head back, pinching my nose, and muttering curses under my breath until tears blurred my vision. I desperately tried to mold myself into another Ethan Cole. Yet I still couldn't truly comprehend even half the sorrow and pain he must have felt before his death. Breaking free from the memories, I held my breath and gazed at the 18-year-old Ethan Cole before me. At this moment, our story hasn't even begun yet, and I don't even know what kind of ending awaits us this time. Yet I still gently put down my backpack, unwilling to disturb this moment and utterly enchanted by the scene before me. The sunset and my youth are the most magnificent sight in this world. It's good to see you again, Ethan Cole. Really good. 7. You're here, Ethan Cole. Notice me quickly. I walked up with a smile. Let me guess, are you listening to Coldplay? Ethan Cole froze slightly, his phone screen lit up, and when I leaned in to look, it was indeed that song, The Scientist. They say if you listen to The Scientist 1,000 times, you'll go back to the past. I don't know if it's true or not. Hearing my whisper, Ethan Cole looked at me seriously. It's fake. This song is 4 minutes and 10 seconds long. Listening to it 1,000 times won't take you back to the past. It'll just make you spend 8 days. This claim defies the laws of natural science. It's an impossible event. My smile collapsed on my face. Ethan Cole, a complete romantic insulator, I should be known. Since you're here, let us get started. Without another word, he took off his school jacket, grabbed the notebook of mistakes from my hands, and began flipping through it earnestly. While Ethan Cole was reviewing my mistake notebook, I stole glances at him. When he reached the last page, he picked up a marker and walked over to the whiteboard. The way you organize your mistakes is problematic. Take my notebook home tonight and follow my format from now on. I've reviewed all your incorrect answers, and there are many recurring types. I'll first teach you the most difficult one, then you can try the others on your own. I sat at the desk watching him write out formulas and key points one by one. Also, you don't need to review these mistakes daily. I'll mark which ones require periodic review, and you can study them in batches. This saves time and is more efficient, Ethan Cole said, as if crafting a personalized study plan just for me. Why do we need to review according to a schedule? I stared at Ethan Cole's jawline, completely baffled. He wiped off the marker stains on his hands and said calmly, Ebbinghaus forgetting curve. I gave him a thumbs up and beamed. Ethan Cole, you're amazing. Seeing my smile, Ethan Cole froze for a moment before turning his face away. Flattery when to work, hurry up and solve the problem. I'm not sure if it's just my imagination. As I turned my head, a suspicious blush flashed across Ethan Cole's face. After the tutoring session ended, I shouldered my backpack, ready to leave with Ethan Cole. When passing by our classroom, I thought I heard someone talking inside. Wait a second, I whispered, stopping Ethan Cole as I peeked quietly into the classroom. It had already been 2 hours since school ended. Normally the classroom should have been empty by now. Miss Hannah, haven't seen you in days since. When did you become so bold? Leo Fisher, ISNT here today. He can't protect you. The speaker was a girl with highlighted hair, her school uniform tied around her waist, a face I didn't recognize. Beside her, 2 other girls sat perched on a desk chewing gum. One of them was toying with Hannah Miller's hair. The 3 of them had Hannah corner, their expressions unfriendly. I vaguely remembered that Hannah Miller had transferred to our class in 12th grade, and our interactions had been few. I was about to step forward when Ethan Cole pulled me back from behind. Zoe Jacobs, don't be rash. Before my eyes, the girl with highlighted hair picked up a ballpoint pen, clicked it lightly, then swiped it toward Hannah Miller's face. I shook off Ethan Cole's hand and rushed into the classroom. Hannah Miller stood in the corner, her eyes reddened. When she saw it was me, she looked flustered. I reached out my hand to her. Why are you still here? I've been waiting outside for ages. We promised we'd walk home together every day after school, didn't we? Hannah Miller froze, seemingly not yet grasping my meaning. I smiled as I stepped closer, directly grasping her cold hand. Who the hell are you? The lead girl snapped, frowning loudly. The other 2 girls moved to surround us, 2 hurling obscenities from their mouths. Mind your own business, they warned me. I turned a deaf ear and kept pulling Hannah Miller away. The girls lunged at us like mad women. When they grabbed my collar, I shielded Hannah Miller tightly in my arms, closing my eyes, bracing for the moment when the fist would land. Suddenly, I heard Ethan Cole's voice laced with mockery. I get it, people always go through a phase where they're obsessed with such crude violence, but if you can't handle studying, I suggest finding a job sooner rather than later. Save the energy you waste bullying others, you'll need it for those long hours standing at the checkout counter. The leading girl's face flushed red, then paled white in rapid succession, painting quite the spectacle. And who are you? Who I am doesn't matter, but I'm despicable enough to hit girls. Get lost now. Ethan Cole spat out these 3 words icily. The girls exchanged glances, apparently sensing things weren't going their way, and stormed off in a huff. After they left, Ethan Cole finally turned his gaze toward me. His eyes lingered on my slightly crumpled school uniform collar, his lips pressed tightly together. Bravery without strategy will only bring you harm. What if I hadn't been here today? Couldn't you have called the police first? Ethan Cole didn't seem to realize his tone was overflowing with concern. I curled my lips into a smile, feeling extremely pleased. Ethan Cole, don't be mad. I reached out and gently tugged at the hem of his school uniform. I dared to rush out because I knew you were right behind me. But what if next time I'm not behind you? Ethan Cole blurted out. I froze for a moment, then I blinked at him. Then just stay behind me forever, don't leave, problem solved. Hannah Miller apologized profusely, thanking us. They've given me trouble more than once or twice before. When others were around, they couldn't make their move today. I stayed late to clean up, so they seized their chance. I quickly waved my hand, about to say it was nothing, that next time we were alone, she could just call me to walk together. The next second, Hannah Miller blushed and asked, are you 2 dating? I'm so sorry for keeping you waiting. Hannah Miller is definitely someone I want to be friends with. She really knows how to talk. I gently made a silencing gesture, signaling Hannah Miller to keep it low. Those who know. I expected Ethan Cole to argue back, but surprisingly, he remained uncharacteristically silent. 9 After the little episode, the mock exams were approaching. When teaching me problems, Ethan Cole was always serious. He cared more about me than the math teacher did, and likewise, he was stricter with me than the teacher. Sometimes I need to solve a problem over 10 times before I can get it right again. No matter how many times I make mistakes, Ethan Cole patiently identifies my issues and tries to teach me in ways I can better understand. The time I spend with Ethan Cole seems to be growing longer and longer. My entire being is wound tight, my sleep dwindling to almost nothing. Even morning self-study sessions are spent memorizing problems. My classmates all teased me, saying it was quite rare to see someone so love-struck studying so desperately. Yes, everyone thought my hard work was just for the sake of dating him. Only I knew my true purpose. This part is done quite well. He circled a section with red pen. Before I could even feel happy, the classroom door was pushed open. I saw Leo Fisher sauntering in with his backpack slung carelessly over his shoulder. He stopped right beside me, looking down at my incorrect answers. Mock exams are coming up, so I thought I'd check on you guys. You look down on me thinking I'm weak in certain subjects and lack overall academic ability, but Ethan Cole, since you're so well-rounded in all subjects, I'm genuinely curious to see how high you can get Zoe Jacobs' math score this time. Faced with Leo Fisher's sarcastic remarks, Ethan Cole responded coolly. This is between me and Zoe Jacobs. Her math grades will be my sole responsibility. But this has nothing to do with you, Ethan Cole murmured, his tone icy as he lowered his gaze. Leo Fisher froze, likely provoked by Ethan Cole's utterly dismissive attitude. Teenage boys always tend to be hypersensitive to others' passing remarks. Putting on airs again, why would you suddenly take pity and teach Zoe Jacobs out of nowhere? At this point, he suddenly smiled, because only this way can you gain more sense of achievement. Only by comparing yourself to those beneath you can you repeatedly prove your own excellence. After all, you've always been so arrogant you look down equally on everyone with worse grades than you, including me. You've long grown accustomed to measuring everything by rankings. Those ranked above you earn your respect, while those below you deserve your contempt. Even when someone confesses to you, you measure them by grades, judging who's worthy to be your girlfriend. How could someone like you ever deserve anyone's sincerity? Leo Fisher seemed somewhat angry, looking at me with exasperation at my failure to meet his expectations. Zoe Jacobs, we agreed you'd study math properly. Now pull yourself together, show some effort during the exam, and don't let certain people look down on our class 2 anymore. Ethan Cole's eyes darkened. Leo Fisher, I never once said I look down on class 2. Please watch your words and stop projecting your assumptions onto me. Leo Fisher didn't back down at all, instead fixing Ethan Cole with a steady gaze. The tension was palpable, ready to erupt at any moment. Leo Fisher's eyes burned with fury. Good grades mean nothing without good character. You're really from head to toe. There's not a single likable thing about you. As his words grew increasingly harsh, I spoke up to stop him. Hey, Leo Fisher, calm down. Leo Fisher was still staring at Ethan Cole with that same gaze. Ethan Cole, I'll surpass you in the exams. Leo Fisher finally threw down these words before striding away. After he left, the classroom fell into dead silence. I could clearly sense Ethan Cole's unspoken tension. Having grown accustomed to Leo Fisher's usual carefree demeanor, this was the first time I'd ever seen him truly angry. I wanted to comfort Ethan Cole. What Leo Fisher said earlier was just angry words. Don't take them to heart. His gaze was as calm as still water, completely unruffled when he looked at me. Zoe Jacobs, what he said doesn't matter. What do you think about what he just said? Do you also believe I'm teaching you math just to feel superior by helping someone with worse grades than me? Ethan Cole waited quietly for my response. I shook my head. I've never thought that way, not before, and not now. I'm not that despicable. Before Leo Fisher taught you math, there were a few times after school when I passed by your classroom and saw you were the only one left solving problems on the whiteboard. With every girl who confessed to me before, I always rejected them by saying score 780 on the SAT math section. But you're different from them. His words trailed off abruptly. Ethan Cole braced one arm against my desk, the other resting on the back of my chair. He suddenly leaned down, looking at me. At this moment, from a certain angle, I must have appeared to be enveloped in Ethan Cole's embrace. The next second, Ethan Cole spoke softly. I never imagined you'd actually work twice as hard because of those words. Your affection and the way you take things seriously are both precious. These were words he had never spoken to me before. On that sweltering afternoon, the breeze of 18 summers was lifting the classroom curtains. On the day the mock exam results came out, I was more nervous than anyone. I didn't dare face my own grades at all. Instead, Leo Fisher ecstatically slapped his score sheet down in front of me. Zoe Jacobs, look at the report card. Quickly, this time, I scored 5 points higher than Ethan Cole in math. I covered my eyes with both hands, unwilling to look at the report card. Leo Fisher saw right through my cowardice and simply plopped himself onto the desk in front of me. Since you don't dare look, I'll read it out for you. I whispered to interrupt him. Hold on, let me catch my breath. At the classroom door, Ethan Cole suddenly appeared. Zoe Jacobs. Hearing his voice, I immediately lowered my hands. Leo Fisher, wasn't he pleased? You're unbelievable. Whatever Ethan Cole says goes, huh? Now you're not even covering your eyes anymore. Ethan Cole stood at the doorway, a faint smile curling at the corners of his lips. It was break time between classes, and the classroom buzzed with activity as students chattered noisily, each engrossed in their own affairs. For some reason, though, my heart had been racing with anxiety the moment I saw Ethan Cole. A strange calm settled over me. I rose from my seat and strode purposefully toward Ethan Cole. The results are out. Ethan Cole's eyes shimmered with a faint smile. I took the report card from his hands, drew a deep breath, and slowly slid my finger downward until I saw the bold 680 printed beside my name in the math section. It was a thoroughly average score, but I remembered clearly in the mock exams before my rebirth, my math scores had been dangerously close to 780. If I get a second chance, it might turn out worse than before. If I'm not good enough, maybe I can't make Ethan Cole like me again. And Zoe Jacobs would gradually fade into just another passerby in his life. I wouldn't be able to influence Ethan Cole's choice of major, let alone appear with him on the graduate honor roll. Our graduation messages would become memories belonging only to me, with no one else ever knowing. Most importantly, if Ethan Cole doesn't change his major, he'll still face certain death. A sense of helpless frustration overwhelmed me. I was clearly trying my best to recall this knowledge, making sincere efforts to catch up and push forward. Yet the outcome always defied my wishes. I fought back tears. Ethan Cole, thank you, but I'm sorry I've let you down. I couldn't even get past myself, let alone Ethan Cole. I couldn't speak anymore, turning around to flee. Finally, I stopped in the gymnasium, frozen before the massive swimming pool. Zoe Jacobs, Ethan Cole, had actually followed me. Tears welled up in my eyes as I pleaded humbly, Ethan Cole, I'll work even harder. Please don't really give up on me, and please don't fall for someone else. But alas, he couldn't hear the cries of my heart. Ethan Cole frowned at me just like on the day I returned. Only this time there was an added layer of tension in his expression. It's okay, there's still time before the SAT. I'll keep practicing with you, we still have time. I took a step back as if unable to believe his words, then broke down into anxious sobs. The person I liked never had to meet any standards. He stepped forward, his gaze earnest. That line about scoring 780 was just nonsense. Zoe Jacobs, I like you and I mean it. Ethan Cole's words fell softly, yet distinctly into my ears. My heart felt as if it had swallowed a sour green fruit, the bitterness spreading to my eyes. But the joy from the confession was fleeting, quickly swallowed by an even greater sorrow. The countdown to our parting hung between Ethan Cole and me like a ticking time bomb. What I wanted was for Ethan Cole to live. I continued. Ethan Cole, you probably thought I was so determined to score 780 points just because I liked you, didn't you? But it wasn't just that I also wanted to prove to you that what you said I could do I actually could achieve. If I could accomplish something so difficult for your sake now that you say you like me, can't you do what I hope for too? Ethan Cole froze. What are you trying to say? I clenched my fists, suppressing my trembling body. I'm begging you, Ethan Cole, could you reconsider your university major application? I watched Ethan Cole's expression gradually stiffen. Why, he countered, his face slowly filling with disappointment. This should have been a romantic confession scene, but because of my stubbornness it became awkward and ugly. Do I really have to choose between what I want to do and the person I like? Are you really that opposed to my dreams? Ethan Cole gritted his teeth. I took a step back, trying to keep my voice from sounding too emotional. Because you're going to die whether you believe it or not. I've never seen your application form. I've only seen our future. In that future you promised me we'd get married. Tears streamed down my face. But you never married me. You broke your promise. Ethan Cole, do you know you left me alone in the winter of my 30th year and walked away yourself? Ethan Cole, you big liar. I hate you so much. 11 My words seemed to root Ethan Cole's feet to the ground, leaving him standing frozen in place for a long time. Before choosing to tell the truth, I had imagined he might think I was crazy. It must be so strange, right? A girl who once confessed to you suddenly goes crazy one day, telling you that you'll die in the future and that you were planning to marry her. If it were me, I'd find it absurd too. Before traveling back to 18 in my original world, I had submitted my resignation, planning to take a trip to clear my mind. Ethan Cole and I had agreed to have a destination wedding. Even though he has gone now, I still intend to fulfill this promise alone. You shouldn't grieve too much. People always have to move forward. Little Cole is dead, but your life must go on. After Ethan Cole left, it seemed like everyone around me was repeating similar words to me. They couldn't empathize, thinking everyone's life was an open wilderness. They believed that by moving backward one would surely glimpse the dawn, but in my heart, I already held the most unforgettable memory. Later, I took Ethan Cole's photo and wore the ring he pressed into my hand during his final moments traveling to many places. I handed out the wedding invitations we never got to send, along with the wedding candies Ethan Cole had personally wrapped, to all sorts of people I met on my journey. On the flight to Kuala Lumpur, I fell into a deep sleep listening to Coldplay, Ethan Cole's favorite band, while clutching his photo. When the heatwave engulfed the entire plane, screams of terror spread through the cabin. Only me, I drifted into a beautiful, endless dream. I dreamed that Ethan Cole chose the same major as me. We walked through the same field, treading among the stars, shining just as brightly side by side. After graduation, Ethan Cole finally proposed to me, and then we had 2 children, spending an ordinary life together hand in hand. Simple and plain, yet without regrets. Ethan Cole, I'm a selfish person. I don't need you to become some great scientist in others' eyes. I don't want you to live as a hymn from a textbook either. Could you live just once for me? Under my hopeful gaze, Ethan Cole remained silent. After a long pause, he spoke slowly. Zoe Jacobs, I find it hard to comprehend what you're saying, this theory about time travel and all. But if what you're saying is true, and the future me really has the ability to contribute my part, then I have even less reason to give up on this. Someone has to do such dangerous things after all. Ethan Cole once said something similar to me. He said that researchers devote their entire lives to their country. It's their mission and their honor. Engaging in scientific research requires a spirit of sacrifice. If one day the world were to descend into its darkest hour, scientists would be the ones walking at the forefront through the long night. They bury themselves in study, toiling from dawn to dusk, all to preserve the embers of humanity and pass the torch forward. Back then, Ethan Cole's earnest expression was exactly the same as it is now. I'm sorry, Zoe Jacobs, this I can't agree to it. 12 If I die young, I think it must be Ethan Cole who drove me to an early grave. Ethan Cole and I were locked in a Cold War. Even when he came to our class every day under the pretext of delivering Leo Fisher as homework, I refused to give him the slightest smile. The happiest person in all this was Leo Fisher. He finally didn't have to run from the East Building to the West Building every day just to collect math assignments. Go at it, break up soon, just hang in there a little longer. Graduation almost here. Make him do all the homework for these last 10+ days. During recess, Leo Fisher leaned back in his chair with a smug look, what looked like Hannah Miller's hair tie still wrapped around his wrist. How childish. I made a gagging face. Zoe, something terrible happened. Hannah Miller burst into the classroom, barely catching her breath before grabbing my arm and dragging me outside. I didn't understand what's wrong. Ethan Cole, he has been rushed to emergency. Hearing Ethan Cole's name, my heart sank. What did you say? Hannah Miller looked frantic. Go see him quickly. It'll be too late if you delay any longer. The hospital, the all too familiar scent permeates every corner. This place became my personal hell when accompanying Ethan Cole through his chemotherapy. I sprinted into Ethan Cole's hospital room. That same hospital gown was draped over his frame once more. The scene felt like a cruel loop of fate. Ethan Cole lay on the bed with his eyes tightly shut, his head wrapped in layers of gauze. I had no idea what had happened to him. My palms grew clammy with panic, my limbs trembling with dread. Ethan Cole, don't scare me like this, I said with a trembling voice, reaching to check his breathing. Suddenly the man on the hospital bed opened, his eyes cold and piercing like winter stars. He abruptly grabbed my wrist, his words urgent and sincere. Don't blame Hannah Miller. I asked her to say those things. If I hadn't said that, you wouldn't have come to see me at all. Just hear me out for a few words. After that, whatever decision you want to make, I wouldn't stop you. Ethan Cole gently wiped away the tears at the corner of my eyes. While lying in the ambulance today, I realized one thing. If it were you lying here, how would I feel? So that day when you said all those things to me, you must have felt the same way. He lowered his head. I've thought about it a lot since that day. I want to give up on this profession, but perhaps there are more important things for me to do at one TV as dangerous, but still enough for me to shine in the field I love. Most importantly, I want to see with my own eyes that future you described to me. Ethan Cole looked utterly ridiculous with his head wrapped up like a clown. Yet every word he spoke was delivered with complete sincerity. I owe you that destination wedding. Once we're in college, I'll make it up to you. I laughed through my tears. Did they damage your brain? The legal marriage age is years away. You can't marry me yet. But Ethan Cole's eyes were shining brightly, without a trace of joking in them. I promise you this time, I'll live well. Not even death can separate us. He reached out and slowly took my hand. I sniffled and nodded vigorously. Ethan Cole, you said it yourself. I raised my hand to ruffle his hair, feeling both heartache and amusement. How did this happen? Ethan Cole seemed somewhat exasperated as he spoke. Got beaten up by some junior. Hi kid, I don't even know him. Think his name was Justin Bell, or something. He continued, threw a rock at me, and ran off. Pretty cowardly move. I muttered under my breath. Serves you right, maybe it knocked some sense into you. Ethan Cole didn't he get angry, just pinched my cheek instead. We still have a long, far journey to walk together. This time I love my youth, he is in my future, and also right before my eyes. Extra today, the auditorium of Northwood High School is packed to the brim. For no other reason than because a legendary alumnus is returning to give a speech at his alma mater. This alumnus is named Ethan Cole, an expert in nuclear security who specializes in theoretical physics, a truly remarkable individual. At Northwood High School there wasn't a single person who didn't know the name Ethan Cole. Speaking of senior Ethan Cole, one simply can't avoid mentioning senior Zoe Jacobs. His graduation message with Zoe Jacobs later became cherished material for romantic stories among Northwood High's younger students in the years to come. I heard that later one of them was hired by a research institute in Washington while the other stayed on to teach at the university. A few years ago they got married. At the time a professor who had taught both Ethan Cole and Zoe Jacobs forwarded their digital wedding invitation to their Instagram. Sharp-eyed students noticed something special about their wedding photos. Alumna Zoe Jacobs wore a veil with jeans standing beside an elephant rolling in the mud surrounded by people of diverse skin tones all beaming with joy while beating oddly shaped hand drums. At the moment the photo was taken, Ethan Cole leaned down and kissed his bride deeply. Their love story is considered the gold standard of campus romance, widely celebrated throughout Northwood High School. During the Q&A session, which was originally meant for Ethan Cole to answer physics-related questions, someone unexpectedly stood up and boldly asked, "I'd like to ask Ethan Cole, when did you and Zoe Jacobs officially become a couple?" Ethan Cole chuckled, still patiently answering the student's question. "After the SATs, so no puppy love, focus on your studies." After the speech concluded, Ethan Cole answered several more rounds of questions due to the students' overwhelming enthusiasm. The event ended quite late. As he passed the honor wall, Ethan Cole paused in his tracks. Next to his photo, with Zoe Jacobs, were written two sentences. "How annoying, only 790, again." That was Zoe Jacobs' handwriting. Ethan Cole's gaze shifted to the right where he saw his own handwriting. "HM, taught by me again." Ethan Cole quietly curled the corner of his mouth. He reached out his finger and gently touched Zoe Jacobs' brow in the group photo. Back then the girl who approached him with unreserved enthusiasm was also an angel who bravely protected her classmates from bullying. She attracted him with her sincerity, then showed him she was far more precious than what he'd initially seen. To earn Zoe Jacobs' affection was an honor spanning 2 lifetimes. After taking the SAT, Ethan Cole still chose his original major when applying to college. But this time, he didn't accept the invitation from Los Alamos National Laboratory, switching from experimental physics to theoretical research to contribute to nuclear safety. He wanted to contribute to nuclear safety, hoping there would be fewer tragedies in the world caused by the consequences of accidental radiation exposure. Ethan Cole's figure no longer appeared at the testing site. Yet he also became the adult he had always aspired to be. Such a choice is fulfilling without regrets. My eyes widened as I stared at him who had come back from the dead, and the words slipped out, celebrating Professor Cole's triumphant speech at his alma mater. Zoe Jacobs thrust the sunflower bouquet she had prepared early that morning into Ethan Cole's arms. Her radiant smile, illuminated by the warm glow of the lights, appeared breathtakingly beautiful. Before Zoe Jacobs could react, Ethan Cole eagerly pressed his lips against hers. As their mouths met, his heart swelled with fulfillment. He was happy and never for a single moment regretted the choice he'd changed. Suddenly Ethan Cole remembered the words Zoe Jacobs had spoken to him that year. "They say listening to the scientist 1,000 times will take you back to the past." If such a clock truly existed, Ethan Cole thought it must surely be powered by their mutual love. Something capable of defying scientific laws, orbiting each other eternally, never depart. The end.